Doctor Who has many unanswered plot threads and a lot of plot holes within its 60-year history. And a lot of these plot threads that get abandoned by the writers of the show and the plot holes that are left behind end up usually getting filled in by expanded media and Big Finish. Madame Kavarian randomly disappearing, that gets expanded on in expanded media. Jenny, the Doctor's genetic clone daughter, that gets expanded on in Big Finish and other expanded media. But there is one plot thread that I think stands out amongst all of these other messes that the writers have created. As a big fan of Peter Capaldi's era, I think this one stands out amongst the many, and that's Harmony Shoal, or Shoal of the Winter Harmony. And people not so familiar with this group of aliens, these aliens featured in 2 episodes during Peter Capaldi's run, one in The Husbands of River's Song, and the second episode, The Return of Dr. Mysterio. These were almost these Slitheen type creatures that put brains inside of other people and kept other objects inside their head. They put their brains into other humanoid creatures to infiltrate. We see this pretty clearly in The Husbands of River's Song, although it is a main focal point. They're just there to have that type of villain of the week role. However, by the return of Dr. Mysterio, they play a much larger role as, you know, the big villain of the week. In this episode, the Doctor and co end up defeating the Harmony Shoal's plans, but what we see at the end of the episode is one of the Harmony Shoal members, aliens, has infiltrated UNIT. And this was very much done in a cliffhanger style format, that there was going to be another episode to complete this trilogy of episodes with Harmony Shoal.
And he was like this when you found him?
Yes, sir.
Wait here. I'm putting a call into Osgood.
So after that, with how it was shot, how Osgood was even name dropped here, it felt like we were getting another episode to do with Harmony Shoal sooner or later. But with season 10 being Peter's last season, it definitely felt like it was coming sooner rather than later. And people waited and waited, but it never came. This is the last on-screen appearance of the Harmony Shoal. And even then, with how it was set up, people were expecting some type of Big Finish or expanded media story around this. It was set up in such a perfect way that there was no doubt that there could be a final chapter in this duo of episodes. However, again, Big Finish and other expanded media have not touched this plot thread whatsoever, and it has nearly been a decade. So what happened to this member of Harmony Shoal that infiltrated UNIT and set up some big infiltration storyline within UNIT? And why is this one of Doctor Who's arguably biggest plot holes when it seems so minor in comparison to some of them? But starting with question 1, we honestly don't know what happened to this member of Harmony Shoal which infiltrated UNIT. We simply don't have a canonical answer for this, and we can only gather some theories about what might have happened to this member, and that's what I'm about to do for you all. Let's start with the most likely. UNIT sniffed him out and promptly got rid of him. I mean, the guy had a massive cut down the middle of his face, and from the Doctor they probably know how Harmony Shoal blend in. And if not that, UNIT and Osgood probably sniffed him out and again promptly got rid of him. I mean, they had this whole Zygon arc as well within the show. It seems most likely that UNIT would gather on pretty quickly that one of their UNIT operatives isn't a UNIT operative and some angry brain. But I've got a way more fun and exciting theory that isn't just UNIT tracking down an alien within its ranks. So, and this is going to sound pretty harsh, cast your mind back to the 13th Doctor's era, and more importantly, the Flux season. And in this season, we were introduced to this time-traveling hopping man called the Grand Serpent, who went back in time to infiltrate UNIT from its beginnings and build it up and then tear it back down. The Grand Serpent influenced UNIT throughout its entire history, from its beginning to its design downfall. I personally believe that because of this, the whole Harmony Shoal thing infiltrating UNIT just never really took place and never really went anywhere because of the Grand Serpent. Effectively, the Grand Serpent is just doing the same thing that UNIT would be doing by sniffing the character out, but I personally think this is a lot more interesting, the fact the Grand Serpent would have to do this in the first place because of this said infiltration. I think it's just a fun little spin on things, and of course this could completely entirely change. You could also throw the Toy Maker in there because he was messing around with the whole of Doctor's timeline. You know, we could do anything here, because we are really never going to know what happened to this plot thread. It just didn't go anywhere, and they are not going to pick up this plot thread whatsoever. This isn't one that has any interest within just a general audience. But why, in my opinion, is this Doctor Who's biggest plot hole? Well, in my personal opinion, I think it is Doctor Who's biggest plot hole, because we don't have any answers for it whatsoever. With nearly every single Doctor Who plot hole, there's either a throwaway line in another later episode, in expanded media in some way, shape or form, if it's in the form of a book, an audio, even in a magazine. Where this, we just don't have anything, and it was set up that UNIT, one of Doctor Who's main things, was being infiltrated, and then just poof, it wasn't. And I think for that reason, just such a small plot hole of this going nowhere is actually one of Doctor Who's biggest plot holes. Of course the titles may be exaggerating a bit, I don't think this is the biggest plot hole, but for me as a huge Doctor Who fan, this is genuinely up there. I want some answers to this in some way, shape or form. I mean, there is so much expanded media, I don't see why they can't do some throwaway audio, some throwaway piece of novelization of something, or just a magazine. I just don't know why we've been left on this cliffhanger for nearly a decade. But what are your thoughts on this? Do you even care about Harmony Shoal? And what are your ideas about Harmony Shoal infiltrating UNIT? Feel free to comment that down below, and whilst you're down there, you might as well just leave a like and subscribe. But I've been your host Samuel, and I will catch you in the next Who related video.